Dudu Fisher.
Yes.
The singer Dudu Fisher.
Yes.
So he has I think it's his sister who related this story. I think it's his sister. So the story began with their grandmother. The story began in the grandmother in the year 1932, I think, or 33. They were living in Riga, Latvia.
Right.
This lady was pregnant, and it was towards the end of the term of her pregnancy. The doctor said that there's a danger for the birth, and therefore they have to take the baby out or do a cesarean, not a natural birth, to make a. And in those days, surgeries were far more dangerous than we're dealing with today. So there was a much bigger risk. And they didn't want to do it. They wanted to ask a very big doctor. So they went and they got an opinion from a bigger doctor. And the other doctor said, no rush. Let's wait. They waited, and maybe a week, I don't know exactly. And then they came back. And when the doctor saw what's going on, the doctor said that now it's actually too late. We missed the window to do the cesarean. And now, if the baby's born naturally, or it's going to be a danger to the mother if they do it, and the cesarean is not going to help anyways. So the only thing they can basically do is to save the mother's life, and they'll lose the baby. That was the thing. So this lady's relating that the sister of this woman the aunt was so upset about it, and so shook it up that she ran to the shul. And she opened up the ark, and she started weeping and crying and making commotion and saying, Hashem, please, you have to help, a miracle, this, that. Someone heard her crying, and someone asked her what's going on, and she related the story, what happened, that her aunt is giving, her sister is giving birth, and the baby is, and they want to now, so she said, well, there's a Rebbe here. Why don't you go? The previous Rebbe then, previous Chabad Rebbe was living in Riga then. So I said, why don't you go ask for a blessing? She never heard. So she took her to the house. They came there, and the secretary of the previous Rebbe was named fabrengen. Later he was killed by the Nazis. So this fabrengen said, let me go into the Rebbe and tell the Rebbe. Wait. So he went in, came back. He said, nothing to worry about. Everything is going to be good. And she's going to give birth to a healthy Jewish Maidala. Wow. He said right away that it would be a girl, a healthy Jewish Maidala. Wow. So she goes running back. Meanwhile, they're in the hospital, and so on and so forth. And as she gets to the room, everybody's all excited. It's a mazel tov, there's a baby girl. So they said that it was exactly, they looked at the time, it was exactly the time they went in, like you said, exactly the time. Wow. It was exactly that time that they had gone in. The Rebbe said it would be a Meidala. Okay. So she said, so our family was already, because of that story, we had very big respect for Hasidic Rebbes in general, Chabad Rebbes, and so on and so forth. Her husband, this lady was relating this was her grandmother. The birth of a grandmother. So she relates the story, and this is already in when she relates the story in the 2000s. I'm not exactly sure which year. She's married to a chazan. He says his name Avi something. I have to look up this guy. I read the story on Shabbos, so I couldn't use Google to check the guy up. He's some chazan. I think he's a brother-in-law with Dudu Fisher. And he's a big chazan somewhere. And he got a big job to be the big chazan in Baltimore. And she had a bracha from the Rebbe, a whole story. He's a big chazan in Baltimore. Turns out one of the days he's not feeling well. They go for check, testing and stuff. And it turns out that there's something, nose, throat, air. And in the book, they don't relate exactly what the condition was. The guy who relates the story says, I saw the documents, but out of respect to the family, I'm not going to say exactly. But it was something very serious that they had discovered. I don't know if it was a cancerous growth or something. And the thing was really bad. So, took it up, they didn't know what the treatment is going to be, what's going to happen. So she travels, she and her husband, they went together, they went to New York, they went immediately to the oil to daven. She goes inside and she's praying and she's crying and she's begging for her husband's help. And when she comes outside, she sits down and opens up one of the Rebbe's letters. Randomly, she opens up. It's a letter in Yiddish. She doesn't know Yiddish. So she's trying to make sense of what it says. A little bit she's reading. She notices it's saying something about a shaitel, about a wig. She didn't, she never wore a wig. And this would be very difficult for her. So she got the gist of what is she not going to do for her husband to be better? And if the Rebbe is giving some kind of a bracha having to do with putting on a wig, she made a copy, took a picture, made a copy of the letter. And then she meets a friend, and she said, I got something about a wig and this and that, like, what do I do? I said, listen, you don't have to start wearing the wig all the time. Maybe you start a little bit. So she said, you know what, that I can do. Friday night, being that I don't go out, I'm just home, I'm going to wig a wig Friday night in the house. Well, she didn't even get a wig yet, the first Friday night, but she made a decision that she's going to do it. So on Friday night, she has a dream. In her dream, she's back at the oil. She's sitting at the desk, at the table there. And the Rebbe walks right over to her. This is in her dream. The Rebbe tells her as follows. He says, regarding your husband, he says, they diagnosed him with so-and-so. In the story that I read, they said they diagnosed him with X. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't have X, he has Y. Wow. Y. But the doctor says it's X. You need to make sure they take this and this test. And the Rebbe gives her a name of a test that she never heard of. And he tells her this, again, I have to go look at the story and really get the name. He tells her to tell the doctor that she should take this and this test. And then he says, and the results are going to prove to the doctor that it's not X, that it's Y. Then when he's going to know that it's Y, he's going to give you 3 solutions of how you can deal with it. 3 options, A, B, and C. A is some kind of intense medication, I don't know what, treatment. B is I forgot what. And C is surgery. The doctor is going to recommend A, but you say you want C. You want the surgery. Then the Rebbe continues, and he says, after the surgery, the doctor's going to want to continue with medications, but you say no. She wakes up from the dream. She said and she remembered it vividly. And she said, but what's crazy over here is she heard new terms, medical terms she never heard in her life. And she said, this. So she wakes her husband up. Avi, she says, she wakes him up. She says, I had this crazy dream. And she tells him. So they sat that night and they were reviewing because they were afraid they couldn't write it down on Shabbos. So they were reviewing to remember all the things till Matzah Shabbos. Sunday, maybe they wrote it Matzah Shabbos. Sunday, they go to visit a doctor. It's funny. They had already an appointment. It was Sunday or Monday. I think it said Sunday. Which I'm just saying that Sunday, most doctor offices are not open, but okay. So maybe it's Monday. In any case, they go to the doctor, and the doctor is and he says that based on all the testing, exactly like the Rebbe said, he said it's X. She said, but you know what? She tells the doctor, I want to take this and this test. He looks at her like she's off the wall. And he says, what are you talking about? This test is not at all, it's completely not a test you should be taking in this situation. And she says, but I still want to take that test. He says, but I don't want to give you that test. He said, it would be a waste of time. She says, no, but please, I want you to take that test. He says, but insurance is not going to cover it. So they said, okay, it's going to be an out-of-pocket. He said, it's an expensive test, $800. They said, we're going to pay the $800.
$800,
Do
nothing.
Yeah? This is back then. He's insisting it's almost a dozen of eggs. Almost a dozen of eggs these days. $800. For $806 you can get a dozen of eggs. Not kidding. In our real market, I was last week. $10.99 a dozen of eggs.
Right.
It's $1 an egg.
At the large one?
We had our real.
It's not even for real.
At the
Not
real.
real. We had a very expensive latkes.
Very expensive.
Next year they're going to make latkes with gold instead of with
Just
gold and chocolate. Yes.
cheaper.
$10.99 at the real?
1 dozen.
No.
$10.99.
Trader Joe's is...
The lady, Trader Joe's you can get, getting much cheaper. But real, he told the lady working there, the Russian lady, she works there. She said to me,
Mother.
no, not the mother. No, maybe she's not the Russian. Maybe she's I don't know what the other lady that works. She said she could. How did I realize it? She said she clicked. She says, "You sure you want it?"
Really?
I said, "How much is it? $10.99." I said, "My wife needs to make latkes."
Maybe only takes 7. You must be very pressed for time.
Yes.
Yeah.
In any case, they insisted on doing the test. And okay, if they insisted, they're going to pay for it. He does the test. Not he. They went to do a special expert to get the test. The results of the test come back, and that other expert tells them, well, it's showing that his condition is not X, it's Y. Exactly like the dream.
Wow.
She comes back to the doctor, and she brings him the test results. He's looking at it, and he turns pale. And he's literally baffled. He says, it can't be. He says, but, it's not what I thought it is. It's completely something else. Okay, so he's thinking, and he says, well, this particular case, you can treat in one of 3 ways.
Right. A, B,
He
C.
gives them A, B, and C. And she almost can't control her smile. And he says that, but I would recommend doing A, the medications and the others. She says, but I want to do C. And he's looking at her like she's this. And he says, no, but I think it's much better. She says, no, but I think it's better to do C. He says, it's much riskier. She says, let's. So by now he already had whatever. So he gave in. He wasn't going to fight with her. So they scheduled the surgery. And he said that when they wanted to go to, they were in Baltimore, they wanted to go to New York to do the surgery because there was the best doctor to do it. So at that time they were in connection to the Lelever Rebbe, one of the Rebbes. And the Lelever Rebbe, they told him the story. He said, if the Lubavitcher Rebbe is the one who told you to do it, you don't have to go to New York. Just do it by anybody, it'll work. So they had the surgery, and the surgery was a smashing success. It was really good. But afterwards, the doctor starts insisting that you have to take a long term of medication. And she said, no. So she refuted the medication, and then he was totally good. So, wait.
Don't do it at home, guys.
Yes. So what happens? What happens to the story? So now she goes back to the letter. And she's reading, and the letter is addressed to someone, Avram. The letter that she initially got. It's addressed to Avram, and her husband's name is Avram. The date of the letter was the date that they realized was the date that they were at the oil. So the date and the name was delivered. The Rebbe is basically, now that she has interpretation of the Yiddish letter, the Rebbe is basically telling her to wear a sheitel. And the Rebbe says to her that you wear a sheitel, especially because you're a very public person. You're in a big shul, and he's a chazan in the shul. And because you're at an important position, if you would wear a sheitel, it would influence others.
Yeah.
And the Rebbe tells the husband, buy your wife the most expensive sheitel. That's what the Rebbe says. Buy your wife the most expensive sheitel.
Don't do it at home.
And the Rebbe says, but the Rebbe tells him, and the Rebbe says, listen, in the letter, he says, and you can send me afterwards the price, the cost of it, and I'll refund the money. The Rebbe said.
Wow.
So they're reading this. They say, okay, interesting. So she took it for face value. The Rebbe said the most expensive shaitel.
Yeah.
So she goes and finds whatever. It's $10,000.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, believe it or not.
It comes with a dozen eggs.
You didn't hear it. No.
It's almost.
Eggs for free.
It's almost. Yeah. So she's okay. Now they're not getting the $10,000. Meanwhile, because he's a chazan, he was invited on a Jewish cruise.
Oh.
Kosher cruise.
Oh, wow.
He's entertaining.
Right.
She goes out on the deck. She goes out on the deck, and she sees 3 or 4 women congregating, and they're talking. And 4 women on a cruise. What are they talking about? Shaitels.
Wow.
She joins the conversation. She's listening, and they're all talking. So she asked them, "Where'd you get your shaitels?" They said, "In Israel, because in Israel we can get it for much cheaper." So she comes to her husband. She says, "Maybe we do that." He says, "Okay, we're going to make a trip special to Israel." She bought a ticket. She went to Israel. She went to the shaitel. She got 2 for $2,300 instead of 1. Exactly.
Yeah.
Beautiful. She was very happy with it. $2,300. She came back $700 the ticket. So the full price that she paid for a shaitel was $3,000, but she got 2. She goes out. This is the story. She goes out to a wedding. First time she's wearing it, and everybody's coming over and giving compliments on her shaitel. She's very happy. But suddenly one woman, a very wealthy woman, comes over to her and tells her, "I need your shaitel."
Wow.
She says, "No, you don't understand. There's a woman, a friend of mine, a young woman. She has cancer. She did chemo and stuff. She lost her hair. She's not going out anywhere. She's feeling very uncomfortable. Your shaitel will be the perfect shaitel."
Wow.
So she said, "Okay, I'll lend you the shaitel." You know, she says to her, "It doesn't work this way. You need to get the test and the color and the hair and the this and the that." She says, No. I think this is a perfect match." Okay, fine. So the next day, she gave her a shaitel, loaned the shaitel. She gets a call from that other lady. No, the lady calls her back and they says, "It's not a loan. She's keeping the shaitel." This is perfect. She's so happy with it. It's the perfect shaitel. But it was good because she had 2.
Yeah.
So she said to her, "But you know what? I'll send you something." So the next day, or the day, she gets an envelope under her door with a letter, and it's $3,000, and it says on the letter, she says that I hope this covered the cost of the shaitel. So the Rebbe said, "Buy the shaitel, and I'm going to pay you back." She got the full. This is the story. I did a story today. Today I was looking at there's a series of books, stories of the Rebbe on each holiday and on each sefer of the Torah. So this is the one on Hanukkah. I opened it up. I don't know how they connected it to Hanukkah. This is a good story. Good story. So this is like a vivid dream.
His last name is Albrecht.
Albrecht. That's it. Avi Albrecht Chazan. Now you have his name.
I just checked on Google.
Yes.
That's why we have a
He's
Google.
Dudu Fisher's brother.
Yeah. He's famous. He's very
He's
famous.
a famous Chazan. Avi Albrecht. So his wife, Shaitel. Now you can track her down and verify the story is true.
And if you need a
But
cheap
can't
shaitel,
But you can't get a shaitel
know
for
where it is.
$3,000. The husband has to get the most expensive shaitel. The rest is on the level. Okay? Chai. That's the hero we take out from today's. Anyways, Chai. Okay, I just want to share with you because I see the fabrengen is just young. We are watching these days miracles that the Jewish people have not seen from the days, the time, biblical times. There's and just to really like show you how crazy the times that we are in right now. There's a fascinating prophetic Zohar. A Zohar. where the Zohar says, in the end of Parshat Balak, you can look up the Zohar yourself. It's an awesome Zohar. The Zohar talks about a 70-day period. That during that time, Mashiach is going to subdue the 70 nations. The power, the spiritual power of the 70 nations. The Zohar chooses the day that it will start and the day that will end. The Zohar says this period will start on the 25th day of Elul. The Zohar says the 25th day of the 6th month. It will fall out on Shabbos. It will conclude on a Friday, the 6th day of Elul, the 6th day of Kislev, the 6th day of Kislev. What's going to happen during those 70 days? The Zohar is referring to the prophecy of Bilam, the non-Jewish prophet.
Mm-hmm.
He says, Dorach koichav meYaakov, a star will shoot forth from Jacob, which is referring to Mashiach's star. So the Zohar says a comet will be seen in the sky on the 25th day of Elul when it comes out on Shabbat, on Shabbos. Doesn't say which year. It just says a comet will be seen in the sky. That day, and that's representing Mashiach's star, it's going to stay in the sky for 70 days, and it's going to conclude on the 6th day of Kislev on a Friday. So what was exciting this year? But the dates matched up the past year. The 25th day of Elul came out on a Shabbos.
Mm-hmm.
The 6th day of Kislev came out on a Friday. Okay. Is there a star? Was there a star, a comet in the sky? No. Take out your Google, your phones, and put in Comet A3.
Oh, wow.
There's a comet in the sky called A3. It has a fancy schmancy Greek name, Latin name or something like that. I can't give you a long name, Chula or whatever. It's a long name, but you can look it up right now. Mm-hmm. Look up the first day that it was seen to the naked eye, that you could see the comet. The comet, you saw the comet?
Yeah. Yes.
It's called Comet A3 to Chula. The comet was first seen, it was the closest to the sun, and it was seen in the southern hemisphere on September 27th. The star was seen. What? This past year, yeah.
2024.
2024, Comet A3.
It was discovered in 2023.
It was discovered, yeah.
Visible, naked eyes in October 2024.
No, October 24 was in the northern hemisphere, but in the southern hemisphere, they were predicting that this star is going to come out and to be seen the first time September 27th. So I heard about this star a few months ago. Someone notified me about the Zohar, and he said, but if you look online, it says that the star is coming out exactly that night.
Yeah.
It was in the news actually.
It was in the news that the comet is going to be out. They weren't sure we're going to see, because sometimes comets break up before you can see them. Mm-hmm. So they were watching it for a while, and they were hoping. They said it would be an interesting, what we call a meteor shower. Not a meteor shower, but a meteor event in the sky that you can watch.
I remember that there was going to be a meteor event.
Yes.
Someone told me that.
And that event was going to happen on September 27th.
2 miles in diameter.
Listen to this. This September 27th, the star was going to be seen. So I'm talking about this already in March. I'm finding out about the star, and I'm saying, you know what's interesting this year? I'm talking about things that I didn't start talking about now, and I'm telling you what happened. I was living through this as it was happening because someone showed me the Zohar, and then, which picks, and this doesn't come out all the time, that Shabbos is going to be the 25th of Elul. And that there is a star, it's lining up. There's a star that's supposed to be seen on that day. Fine. But the Zohar says what's going to happen on the first day that the star, what's going to be the debut of that star? What's going to happen the first day that we're going to see the star? Mashiach is going to kick whatever. on the first day. He's already going to give a gutta zetz. Why? And the Zohar is very specific. The Zohar says, in a big city of Rome, 3 massive buildings are going to come down, and the ruler of that city will die. So the Zohar makes a very specific prediction that on the first day of that star, 3 buildings will come down, and the ruler of the city will die in the city of Rome.
So was that Nasrallah in that time? No.
On September 27th, Bibi Netanyahu came to the UN.
Oh yeah.
And he gave his speech on Friday. And he told all the rabid anti-Semites in the UN that to their dismay and to their thing, the Jews are winning. He said those words. He said the Jews are winning. As much as you think you're going to do this, but we are winning. And as soon as he finished his speech, a bunch of F-16s took off, flew over Beirut, dropped 85 bombs, bunker buster bombs. Nasrallah was hiding 14 stories beneath. 14 stories. That Friday night, the 25th day of Elul, and 3 massive buildings came down in Beirut, and Nasrallah was killed in that bombing. The unbelievable thing that they were able to take out Nasrallah. It was absolutely crazy.
With beepers too.
Wait. The beepers happened before.
Later.
The beepers happened before. But the fact that they took them out.
Before, yeah.
Now, it says it's going to happen in the city of Rome. This is Beirut.
Nothing
So
to do with Rome.
Check your
Historical books?
Check your Wikipedia
Uh-huh.
and look up Beirut, and you'll find out that Beirut was a major Roman city
It's the
during
oldest
the
cities,
time of
yeah?
Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. Not
Wow.
only that, during that period, there was a big law school, a Roman law school in Beirut.
Wow.
And if you wanted to get a license for anything, if you wanted a driver's license, if you wanted to be able to carry a gun,
That's Beirut.
if you wanted to be a doctor, or whatever you wanted, if you needed to take out an official license from Rome and you couldn't travel to Rome, you traveled to Beirut.
Wow.
Because that's where they had all the official business and offices of the Roman government.
Yeah.
So when the Zohar says that a karta, the words of the Zohar, karta chada de Roimi, a certain city of Rome, 3 big buildings are going to collapse. And if you look, find out, 6 buildings collapsed, but the Hezbollah complex was under the 3 buildings. They had 6 buildings that came down, they bombed. And Nasrallah was killed on that night, the first night that the star was seen. So I was already the week before saying, let's see what's going to happen on Shabbos. I'm curious. And it happened. That was the first day. Then the Zohar continues. This is pretty. You got the date. You got the star being seen on that night. You have the city. You have the Zohar is telling you 2,000 years ago, telling you about a specific event that's going to happen. That's going to open up the 70-day period that Mashiach is going to subdue the nations. That's why 70 days, because 70 nations. Then the Zohar continues. And the Zohar says, when the star is going to reach the middle of the sky, you got to listen to this, Moshe. When the star is going to reach the middle of the sky, Be'emtsois Alma, in the middle of the world, a new king will rise, and his spirit will be arrogant over all the kings of the world. And everybody will fear him. And there will be some wars, but he will immediately gain control over everything. Now, I'm reading this. Rosh Hashanah, this is 5 days after the 25th level. I gave a Shabbos Shuvah. This year Rosh Hashanah was 3 days. 2 days Rosh Hashanah went straight into Shabbos.
Yeah.
So the rabbis give a talk, Shabbos Shuvah. I read this, and it was a sheer bunch of people there. And I said to the people sitting there, I said, well, what do you think this means? If just now we saw the first part of the Zohar. I said, it's very clear that elections are happening on November 5th. That's going to be within the 70-day period.
Right.
What's called the middle of the world? The middle of the world is the United States because it's the center hub of all of things.
Right.
Now, the Zohar says a prediction that a king whose spirit is arrogant over everybody else is going to become king and he's going to dominate the whole world. I said, does that sound like Kamala Harris? So it was clear that Trump was going to win the election.
Wow.
And what does it have to do with Mashiach? Everything based on what we were talking about before. Because God forbid if she would have won the election, what she would have done in terms of Israel, in terms of the two-state solution, in terms of the Palestinians. And now it's a different story. In other words, you realize that the entire forces of evil are all unified together, and Trump thwarts all their plans. He literally takes their entire garbage and he completely splinters it in the middle of the people. And that's what the Zohar said is going to be the second action that's going to happen during those 70 days. And the Zohar continues. The last day, the Zohar says, which comes out on Friday, on the 6th day of Kislev. So the Zohar says on the next day, after the star is gone from the sky, there's going to be a shaking of 45 mil, which is like a mile, around the Holy Temple. There's going to be the earth around the Holy Temple. It says, Zdaza'ara, the earth will shake 45 mil around the Holy Temple, and a cave will open up beneath the Holy Temple, and a fire will come out and will burn the world. So remember, I'm sharing this with all my listeners. I'm saying, listen, we're waiting. I wonder what's going to happen on Shabbat. I forgot the English date. I forgot what it was, but the Hebrew date, it was Friday. It was the 20th. What's going to happen on the 71st day on Shabbos? So a woman, and I said it doesn't make sense that there's going to be an earthquake, because if there's an earthquake in Jerusalem, 45 miles in each direction, that's going to destroy all of Israel. Yeah. That's terrible. And it doesn't make sense that God is going to now make a fire that's going to burn the world right when he's bringing Mashiach. That doesn't even make any sense. So there's got to be something that's going to happen that's major, that's going to happen on that Shabbos. That's a major thing that's got to do with it. Well, what is it? So suddenly, the news that I hear the week before, that week, remember right at that time, Israel made the ceasefire with Hezbollah, which I didn't think was a good idea. Because you already had them on their knees.
Yep.
You already had them almost the 7th. You had incredible story with the pagers and the beepers and the walkie-talkies, which was the most spectacular stunt ever to be pulled off. Right. You have the Hezbollah they're already broken. Israel was able to take out, after they killed Nasrallah, before that, they killed all his generals, the entire Radwan force, and they took care, they got them so setimal, they got them so confused with those beepers, that they were able to take them out, all of them.
They were afraid to open their...
Yes.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It was so crazy.
Yeah.
They definitely did not...
For sure.
They definitely did not use
anybody would
an electric toothbrush.
Yeah.
They went back to the old toothbrush. Yes.
Yeah.
But in any case, it was no. So the day after the ceasefire. So there's the ceasefire, but Biden pushed it, and I said, "Oh, this is terrible. Why they do this?" So what happened? The day after the ceasefire was over, suddenly we hear news. Not everybody was following it, but I'm very, very tuned into the news because I'm waiting for Mashiach every second. So I'm tuning in my wife keeps saying, "What are you doing on your phone again?" Every 2 minutes I'm checking the news. Maybe there's something there. Something's got to happen. So what do I hear? That suddenly the rebels in Syria start coming into Syria, and they're gaining ground. They're going with lightning speed. They've already conquered Aleppo, and they're moving to Homs, and they're moving to this. And we're watching this story, and I'm saying, "Hey, what's going on here?" So Friday, I teach in the Chabad Girls' School. So Friday, I'm giving a class to the girls, and I told them the week before about Musk and about this, and they were like jumping like crazy. They were like, "Wow!" They were like, I had them all like jump.
Proper education.
and I've been following with them with the Zohar. I went through with them for all this time. I'm telling them about the Zohar and about the thing. And they're saying, so Mashiach is coming to Shabbos, like what's happening? So I said, I don't know. I told them that Friday. I said, listen here. I'm telling you without a question, within the next 24 to 48 hours, Assad is going to be gone.
Oh, wow.
Either it will kill him or it will be gone. And I said, this will be to you the sign that everything else I'm telling you is true. When I told the girls on Friday. So why? Because I'm thinking about Assad. And you know what's interesting? This will give you again goosebumps. I did it earlier. Watch this. This is crazy. You know that in 2011 there was what's called the Arab Spring.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And all the tyrants and all these monster regimes were collapsing. It all started with one person in Tunis,
Right.
who dosed himself in flames in the market. He was so angry at the corrupt government that he couldn't get a job that he put gasoline on him. He put himself on fire publicly in the market. It brought out all the people, and before you know it, the ruler of Tunis was the first government to fall, and this is the night of Yud Shvat. The night of Yud Shvat was when the rebellion started earlier, but the day that the leader ran away and escaped was on Yud Shvat, the Rebbe's day. So the leader ran away, and then that government fell. From there, government Mubarak was out, and then Gaddafi. Remember, they got him. He was running away. They caught him on the street, and they killed him on the street. The mob killed him. Gaddafi, the guy was a ruthless ruler. Country after country, it was happening. Syria was a major revolt, a major against his monster government, against Assad. They almost toppled him. They almost toppled him. But in the end,
The Russians came.
Putin came in and saved him.
Yeah.
And I was always wondering, why did Assad survive more than all the other rulers? He's the only survivor. Why? And then I was researching a little more, and it occurred to me. In Arizal it says that the capital of Syria is Damascus. Damascus city is an old, ancient Hebrew. Damascus is mentioned in the Chumash, even before Jerusalem is mentioned.
It's the oldest city in the world.
Damascus, Eliezer comes from Damascus.
Yeah.
When Abraham was chasing the kings, he chased them until a place called Choiva, that is the left of Damascus. He stopped by Damascus. Damascus is a very, very big klipa. You know why? Because Damascus is the same letters as the word Migdash.
Oh, wow.
It's the antithesis to the Bet HaMikdash.
Wow.
Migdash and Damascus stand opposite one the other. When one rises, the other falls. When one falls, the other rises. Damascus is the antithesis to the Beis HaMikdash. And you want to get a little more crazy. The first time in the Torah it mentions Migdash. Does anybody know when it says the word Migdash the first time? Give me. Think biblical. Think Bible verses and think Migdash. Oh, that's the second time. Pashas Teruma is the second time. Where does it mention the word Migdash for the first time?
In a dream?
No. That was by the place of the Migdash, but it doesn't say the word Migdash. Where does it say Migdash? Okay, we say it every day. In Az Yashir, when we sing this song, it says, Tivi'emoi v'sita emoi, bring them, Bahar Nachlascha, to the mountain of your inheritance, Mochen l'shiftecha, the seat, prepared for your seat, Pa'al Hashem, Migdash Hashem, the Migdash of God, Konenu Yadecha. Which name of God does it mention? Migdash Hashem. Not 26, not Yud Kei Vav Kei. Which name of God is explicitly said over there?
Elohim?
No, Migdash Adon. It's Adonai, but it's not Adon. It's not Migdash Hashem because we can't say Yud Kei Vav Kei like every other time. It's actually Aleph Daled Nun Yud. It's spelled in the Torah Aleph Daled Nun Yud. So whose Beis Hamikdash is it? Who does it belong to? The name Aleph Daled Nun Yud. What's the numeric value of Aleph Daled Nun Yud?
1.
Aleph plus Daled is 4 and 5.
5.
Under 9.
Aleph and Daled
Nun is
is 5. Nun and Yud.
50, 55, and
60.
No,
60.
50 and 5.
65.
50 and Yud, yeah. So together it's 65. So if the Beis Hamikdash belongs to Adna, so it's Migdash Aleph Daled Nun Yud, Migdash 65. If Damasek is the antithesis to it, so I'll let you figure this out. If the Damasek is the antithesis to the Beis Hamikdash, whose Damasek was it? Who's the ruler in Damasek?
Saddam.
The Beis Hamikdash?
Who was that?
Oh,
Come on. Who is the who? What's his last name?
Assad.
How do you spell Assad?
Aleph, Samach, Aleph, Dalet.
And if you don't have to put the second Aleph.
I'm not
Aleph Samach Dalet. What's Aleph Samach Dalet?
165. 4.
So Aleph Samach Dalet is how much?
164.
Aleph Samach Dalet. Samach Dalet is what?
61. 65.
65.
If Migdash is Migdash Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, Migdash of Hashem, and Damascus is the antithesis, who's the ruler of Damascus? His name is Assad, which is literally the same gematria as Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. That means he is the klipa against God's Beis Hamikdash. You realize that? And you realize why Putin came and saved them in the last second? That's why when all of them fell, the only one that the Satan made sure he's going to stay in power was Assad. Because that's the last hope to hold the Beis Hamikdash. And it makes all the sense because Iran's power. What did Iran do? Iran set up an entire ring of fire, a noose around Israel, by supplying Hamas and supplying Hezbollah. But the link that was necessary was Syria. Without Syria, nothing can hold. They had no pipeline.
Yeah.
It was only through Syria. Not only that, Iran, who wants to stop the Beis Hamikdash, who wants to destroy Israel, were protecting themselves with Syria and protecting themselves with Hezbollah. Israel could not attack Iran because if they attack Iran, they would be immediately fired upon by Syria, by Hezbollah, by everybody around. So really, everything was dependent on Syria and Assad. Now what happened? After Israel took out Hezbollah, and Assad used to rely on Hezbollah, because Hezbollah had maybe 50,000 or 100,000 fighters, armed to the teeth.
Right.
And God forbid, not for the miracle of the pagers.
Right.
I mean, we were sure that a war with Hezbollah is going to cost thousands of lives in Israel. Either way you cut it, even if Israel really goes out and fights them like crazy, but they would still shooting hundreds of thousands of rockets simultaneously coming in. If not for those rockets for them, and Nasrallah being taken out, and so on and so forth. So what happened was, as soon as Hezbollah was weakened, the miracle happened. What was the miracle? Without the Jewish people needing to do a thing, the rebels came in. Now, if you think about it, it doesn't make any sense. You know that these rebels came riding into Syria on pickup trucks.
That's right.
They did not have a tank.
Yeah.
They did not have a plane. They did not have a ship. They didn't have missiles. They were a bunch of thousands of guys coming in on pickup trucks with RPGs, and that's it.
Right.
Syria is an army with a navy, with serious military equipment, full of Russian maids. Lots of it was no match to Israel, but they stood a sophisticated, serious threat to Israel for all this time. Why in the world did they all run? You know what the military in Syria did?
Right.
They literally ran for their lives. They grabbed their uniforms, they dropped it on the floor. They didn't want the people should identify the soldiers. They ran for their lives. This is a biblical story. This is what happened when the four Mitzrayim, are standing and going out. They were hungry. They laid siege on Jerusalem, and these Mitzrayim go out and they said, "We can't eat, so let's go and surrender." So they went and they surrendered to and what happened when they got there? They saw their clothing on the floor. Why? Because Hashem threw a fear. Hashem made the army get scared. There's no other explanation why the Assyrian army all ran away from a bunch of rebels coming on. It was clearly because Hashem made it happen. And they ran. Now, that's why I knew that on that Shabbos Assad was going to fall.
Oh, wow.
Why? Because the Zohar was predicting a big event was going to happen. And the Zohar says the Mikdash is going to shake. Now, it doesn't mean there's going to be an earthquake. It's a political earthquake. The entire Middle East changed. That was the final blow to the 70 nations. Israel doesn't have any more a threat around it. On two tiers, Trump took away the global thing. Do you realize we're not hearing anymore from the river to the sea?
Right.
Yep.
You know why? Because the colleges know that they're not getting another dollar.
Right.
If there's going to be
Except Canada.
yeah.
They should give to the Boxing Day.
Well, Canada is
whatever.
You don't hear it anymore.
Canada's almost
Everybody is
Yeah.
the entire apparatus has been knocked. That's the internal. The powers supporting evil have been decimated. But what happened when Syria fell on that Shabbos is that the entire spine of the force that stood against Israel has been broken.
Yep.
Iran is terrified now. You know why? Number one, Iran is now exposed. Because, number one, Syria, Israel came and took out the entire, in 2 days, they did what they couldn't do in 70 years. They bombed the entire Syrian military, every equipment. But what that gives them now is that it gives them full airspace to Iran. Now, a few months ago, they already took out Iran's defense.
right.
So Iran is sitting there exposed. And what Iran is dealing with is Trump, who just said the other day that he's not ruling out a direct attack on the nuclear thing. So between Trump and Israel having complete open space, because Syria is no more in the way, Hezbollah can't rearm itself because they can't receive anymore anything from it because the people in Syria are not letting them come through. So suddenly, literally, every threat that the Jewish people had has been gone in those 70 days that the Zohar predicted. And it was that Shabbos, when the Zohar said on the 71st day. So I opened up my phone, Motzei Shabbos, ran to my phone to see if Assad is gone. And I opened the phone, and I didn't, and it said, "They're fighting, I'm fighting." And I said, "The girls now." I told them that Assad is going to be down. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then 2 hours later, on Motzei Shabbos, it says Assad fled, and they don't know what happened to his plane. Some said he fell down, and some said, "Oh, he's in Russia," but he's gone. And what that really means is that it says the Mikdash will shake.
Yep.
And there is a midrash from Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. This is crazy. It's a midrash from Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. Reb Shimon Bar Yochai says that when the star will rise for the good of the Jewish people, referring to the star that rose was on the first day when the star came up, and Israel was taken out on the first day. Yeah. And then you will see, and what will be your? That's when the help, the real geula will start. And the Medrash and the Reb Shimon Bar Yochai says, like, I can read it to you inside. It's stunning. It says, when you will see that the eastern ruler of Damascus will fall, the eastern ruler in Damascus will fall. In Damascus, Nafla kol malchei Mizrach. All the eastern kings have fallen. V'az yitzmach Mashiach ben David v'ya'aleh Yerushalayim.
Wow.
So I'm telling you, we're living in crazy times now. We're living, and the Zohar continues. The Zohar says after this event, the Zohar says from the cave will come forth a branch, and to him will be kingship, which means the revelation of Mashiach. Right after these events, so it's mamish. You know, we watched the 70 days happen this year. But if you think about where we were a year ago, where we were in terms of the world against us, everything,
crazy.
it's gone. We don't have, Israel is in such a powerful
So true.
And what's going to happen now,
We're done.
if Chas v'Shalom takes a few minutes, I have no question that Arab country after country after country will line up and join the Abraham Accords.
Right.
The Syrian rebels themselves are saying
Yep.
we don't want war with Israel.
Yep.
We want to be friends with Israel.
Right.
Israel went during this time and got the Hermon, which really means the highest peak. They got the heights, which spiritually means they took the whole. That means there's nothing in our way anymore. Now the only thing we need is Trump to fund the Beis Hamikdash.
Yep.
And we're,
Yep.
and we're in, and
Yep.
he'll get it done at a quarter of the price.
Yeah.
And he's the guy who would do it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All this
No
guys,
doubt.
no.
Yeah, yeah.
His guys that he's putting in,
Chesed.
all the guys that he's putting in.
He wants to
He wants to build a temple.
Yeah.
Every
That's right.
single one of them.
That's right.
What's his name? Huckabee.
Yeah.
And it's,
Ultra.
Hashem should help. They shouldn't put any Jews in there. Just put these guys. They're gonna do it.
Number 11.
It's so crazy. Oh wait, and how many days? How many days was it from the ceasefire, from the day that the rebels started
Okay.
until Damascus fell? 11 days.
Yeah. Wow.
Talk about the Rebbe puts his signature on everything.
Wow.
Achad Asar Yom. 11 days
And the Arab-
from when they began. You can count the days. I did it. I did all the math. From the day they came, and the first day was
Wow.
the day after the ceasefire. They came in and they started 11 days, and on the 11th day, Assad was gone.
Wow.
Wait. Yes, and you know what it says?
That's for sure.
And you know what it says in the end? It says that Israel will expand and will have another 3 countries. Syria is part of that. The Jerusalem are asking Israel to become part of Israel. The Rebbe says it in one of those talks. The Rebbe says, we'll receive the 3 extra nations, and the Goyim themselves will give it to us with Mirtzoyna Matoiv, from their goodwill. I've been reading this for years. Every year I teach this Sikha. And I said, Rebbe, what are you talking about? They're going to give it to us willfully? And that's happening. It happened already. There's 6 Druze villages begged Israel to make Israel, to expand Israel into Syria. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I want to just say one last crazy thing. The newest news was, as we said before, that Trump is threatening Canada. He's meddling. He's not threatening, but he's kind of messing with Canada. And he's saying it again. And when he says something, he has something up his sleeve. And he's been telling Canada, you can be the 51st state. Trudeau, you're not going to be the prime minister. And now he even came up with a new guy. He said the other guy should become. He says, but you're not going to be the prime minister. You're going to be the governor. He also wants Greenland. No, Panama. He just wants they should this, but he wants Greenland. These are 2 places that he wants to make part of the United States. So what's crazy? Kabbalistically, Esav is the energy of 52. It's called Shem Ban.
Oh, wow.
Yaakov is the energy of 45. 45 fixes 52. So the United States till now is 50 states. So therefore, when he said that, I said, it's not too far. I came back to the girls on the next Friday, and I said, listen, now, not only am I your favorite rabbi, but I'm your favorite prophet. I told them it's going to happen. They said, hey, it really did happen. So, but here's the thing. When you learn the sichas and you learn the thing and you realize, but when the Rebbe is talking, he really means it. He's not just saying things. Then you can mamish see the pieces are coming together. It's all clear. It's so clear. How it's like, Dida Natzach.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll
What
try
does the
to.
Rebbe say about January 20th?
January 20th is my birthday. January 20th.
Это уже зятская наша
January 20th. It's the Rambam's Yortzeit. Chav. The Rambam's Yortzeit. Now the Rebbe taught many times that Maimonides is very strongly connected to Mashiach.
Really?
Because Maimonides gives us the halachas of Mashiach.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Only one. Plus, he's the first one who made a halacha sefer. Halacha, the Rebbe says, is what makes the world comply with holiness. When you apply halacha to the world, you make the world become godly. So the fact that on the Rambam's yard side comes out Chav Teis, and what did the Rebbe institute? That we should learn Rambam.
Yep.
Yeah.
Since the Rebbe instituted thousands and thousands of Rambam, and because through Rambam, Moshiach fixes the world. Everything is connected. There's nothing that is. People don't realize the Rebbe made this. Takane made this. Everything has everything is a plan. The Rebbe's sitting with a chess game. And he's moving the pieces 50 years ahead of time.
Yeah.
And he's moving it all. And he says, guys, just watch it happen. Watch it happen. So on the Rambam's yard site, that's when January 20th is happening. But we shouldn't have to wait till then.
Rabbi, question for you. When you're picking up the Zohar, you picking up from the Zohar Hagiula?
Yeah.
That book? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing
So
book.
that's in that book, in Parshas Balak, is where this
Oh, I see.
with
Okay.
this pieces.
Beautiful.
The second to the last piece of Balak. Wow. The Rebbe brought the Zohar. In 1953, the Rebbe fabrengen, the Rebbe says it was 25th of El. The Rebbe says, the Zohar says there's going to be a period of 70 days, starting a Chav
Oh, wow.
But the Rebbe says we don't have to wait for that. It's already past all the. It's past all the zmanim. So it can happen now. We don't have to make cheshbonim. Fine, but now that it happened already, it happened already. It's like crazy. So I tell people like this, and this is I feel like people need to hear this all over the world. So I'm telling people, imagine if you woke up on Yetzias Mitzrayim, you woke up by Makas Bechores, and you said, hey, something's going on? And they say, well, Choshech happened already.
Yeah.
Arba, you missed it. You missed Arba, you missed Hara, you missed that. I mean, most people walking around like Zaman, not really realizing that we're watching the most craziest miracles, and all these makas have already happened. So we have to wake up and tune in so that we're there and watching, participating in these crazy events. Because soon one day we're gonna hear that all of it happened and we were totally distracted. So distracted with so many different things.
Yeah.
What happened on the 11th day of Kislev? Because everything is 11. Right. What happened on the 11th day of Kislev? Time magazine announced that Trump is the man of the year.
Yeah.
Right? His enemies. Cowboys and enemies. Wait, but this is the real story. He went that day and they offered him to ring the bell in Wall Street.
Yeah.
So my prediction was that from when he rang that bell in Wall Street on that day is when he downloaded in that moment the Oiros the Toyo, the infinite lights of Torah into the vessels of Tikkun, which means that an enormous amount of wealth is going to start coming to the world. It's even though the stock market dipped a little bit right afterwards, but you're going to see such crazy
Did you hear
wealth.
the screams when he rang the bell? People will go nuts on it.
But Chassidus says that Esav, I said it earlier, Chassidus says that Esav is connected to the infinite lights. And he needs to bring those infinite lights into the vessels of Tikkun, which is Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
Financial markets, the world of finance is the world of Tikkun. But Esav's energy is infinite. That's why his movement is called MAGA. MAGA means big. Big. No, MAGA means big, infinite, great, big. Make America great again.
Mega MAGA.
MAGA. It's big.
Mega.
So when he rang that bell, he was basically announcing to the world that the powerful energies of Tohu are now coming down in the vessels of Tikkun, which is what the whole rectification is all about. And therefore, I better go invest quickly in the stock market.
Yeah.
Really?
Bitcoin went up. The Palantir went up.
You saw what he
Most
did.
of the
You saw when he had the Japanese guy up there, and the guy said he's going to invest $100 billion in America. And he says, let's make it $200 billion.
And he said yes.
Yes. He said, think about that's what we're talking. We're talking about like exponential. Exponential. Everything's going to go exponential.